Good afternoon, student. We started with environment and health. So first, what is environment? Environment is the things which are present surrounding us. It may be living or non-living. It may be material or non-material. Means everything which is present surrounding us, it is called as environment. And we are going to see that environment and its relation with health. So we already seen about water. For the descriptive purpose, environment has been divided into three components like physical, biologic, social. In physical, there is a water, air, soil, housing, waste, radiation, etc. These are called as physical environment. Biologic, it includes plant and animal life, including bacteria, viruses, insects, rodents, and animals. The social environment, it includes customs, cultures, habits, income, occupation, religion, etc. So, we have seen about water, its sources, water pollution, and how to purify water. Now, today we'll start with air. The immediate environment of man comprises of air, on which depends all forms of life. Means air is very important for our living, not only for us but animals, plants, all the things which depends on air for living. Apart from supplying the life-giving oxygen, air and atmospheric conditions serve several functions. Like the human body is cooled by the air contact. Also, the special senses of hearing and smell functions through air transmitted stimuli. Also, disease agents may be conveyed by air. Pollution of air by dust, smoke, toxic gases, and chemical vapors has resulted in sickness and death. Human beings need a continuous supply of air to exist. The requirement for air is relatively constant. It is about 10 to 20 m cube per day. So it is human requires 10 to 20 m cube per day air. So in short, what are the functions of air? First is life-giving oxygen. So it is very important function that air gives us oxygen for living. Second function is body cooling. Third function is it transmits stimuli of smell and hearing. Fourth function is disease causation by agents and pollutants. So human beings needs continuous supply of 10 to 20 m cube per day air. Then composition of air. Air is a mechanical mixture of gases. The normal composition of external air by volume is approximately as follows. First is nitrogen, which is present 78.1%, oxygen 20.93%, carbon dioxide 0.03%. The balance is made up of other gases which occur in traces, for example argon, neon, krypton, xenon and helium. In addition to these gases, air also contains water vapor, traces of ammonia and suspended matter such as dust, bacteria, spores. So maximum composition of air is made up of nitrogen, which is present 78.1%. So maximum amount of nitrogen is present in air. Oxygen is only 20.93%. We'll see by diagrammatic presentation. So composition of air, you can see nitrogen is 78.1%, oxygen is 20.9%, carbon dioxide is very traced 0.03% and less than that of other gases like argon, neon, krypton, xenon, helium, water vapor, ammonia, dust, bacteria, spores and vegetable debris. Then how air becomes impure? So air is rendered impure by first one and maximum respiration of men and animals, as it takes oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So respiration of men and animals. Second one is combustion of coal, gas, oil, etc. Third one is decomposition of organic matters. Fourth one is trade, traffic and manufacturing processes, which gives off dust, fumes, vapors and gases. So by all these things, air is become impure. Under ordinary conditions, the composition of outdoor air is remarkably constant. What we have seen, under ordinary conditions, the composition of outdoor air is remarkably constant. Even if these all impurities are present in air, how it becomes pure? So there is some self-cleansing mechanism of air. So this is brought about by certain self-cleansing mechanism which operate in nature. So first one is wind. What wind does? Wind dilutes and sweeps away the impurities by its movements. So these are natural process. These are self-cleansing mechanism operated by nature itself. So first one is wind. Wind dilutes and sweeps away the impurities by its movements. Because of wind movement, impurities do not accumulate in any one place. So it becomes diluted and it sweeps away. Second one is sunlight. The atmospheric temperature and sunlight play their own part by oxidizing impurities and killing bacteria. So sunlight is also very important for purification of air. How it oxidizes impurities and it kills the bacteria. Third one is rain. It cleanses the atmosphere by removing suspended and gaseous impurities. So rain removes suspended and gaseous impurities from the air. And fourth one is very important, plant life. The green plant utilizes the carbon dioxide and generate oxygen. So this process is reversed during night time. So in the night time, plant takes the oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide, and during daytime it utilizes carbon dioxide which is present in atmosphere by the respiration of human beings. So plant utilizes that carbon dioxide and generates the oxygen. When the rate of population becomes too high or when cleansing processes becomes ineffective, it constitutes a health hazard. So, when the air is occupied in the room, what changes it has? So, human occupancy and activity vitiate air in occupied rooms and give a sense of discomfort to the occupants. The changes in air that takes place in confined places are both chemical as well as physical. We'll go in detail. So, air changes of occupied room, it mainly has two types of changes, chemical changes and physical changes. Chemical changes by increasing CO2 because occupants and decrease amount of oxygen because it is utilized by humans. And physical changes like rise in temperature, increase of humidity, decrease in air movements, body odors and bacterial pollution. These all physical changes leads to decreased comfort, health and efficiency. Also feeling of suffocation or discomfort. Some people have headache, drowsiness, they unable to concentrate. Also there is a risk of droplet infection in closed occupied room, and there is decreased resistance to disease. We'll go in detail one by one. First, remember, when there is a occupied room, there are some changes of the air present there. So what are that changes? That are mainly chemical changes and physical changes. So we'll go in detail. First, chemical changes. The air becomes progressively contaminated by carbon dioxide because of respiration. So the air becomes progressively contaminated by carbon dioxide, and the oxygen content decreases due to metabolic processes, as we are taking oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is increases and oxygen decreases. An average person at rest gives off 0.7 cubic feet of carbon dioxide per hour. The average person at rest gives off 0.7 cubic feet of carbon dioxide per hour. But when person is physically active or during physical activity, it may increases up to 2 cubic feet per hour. In a mixed gathering comprising all age groups, the per capita output of carbon dioxide is taken as 0.6 cubic feet per hour. So in chemical changes, remember only this, कि carbon dioxide increases and oxygen decreases. In physical changes, the most important changes that occur due to human occupancy are the physical changes. These are, first is rise in temperature. The indoor temperature tends to rise as a result of emanation of body heat. So due to body heat, the temperature of room is increasing. A man at rest gives off approximately 400 BTU per hour. A man at rest gives off approximately 400 BTU per hour. What is BTU? It is British Thermal Unit. So how much man gives heat? That is 400 BTU per hour. 1 BTU is the quantity of heat which is required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. See the how much it is temperature. 1 BTU means it is the heat required for raising the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. And how much man gives? 400 BTU per hour. So how much heat it is? Under the condition of physical exertion, the heat output may go up to 4000 BTU. So you can compare. 1 BTU means the temperature which is required for 1 pound of water to increase 1 degree Fahrenheit. So at the rest, 400 BTU is released by human per hour, but during physical exertion, the heat output may go up to 4000 BTU. So first physical changes is increase temperature. Second one is increase of humidity. There is increase in relative humidity due to moisture evaporated from skin and lungs. So humidity due to moisture evaporated from the skin and lungs. The expired air contains about 6% of water vapor. The expired air contains about 6% of water vapor. An adult person at rest releases an average of 700 grams of water vapor per 24 hours in the form of perspiration. From expiration it is the 6%, and from perspiration it is 700 grams per 24 hours. So it has been calculated that a human being releases 18.4 grams of water vapor per hour when sleeping and 175 grams of water vapor when engaged in really vigorous exercise. So average is 700 grams by perspiration and 6% by expiration. But while sleeping it is 18.4 grams of water vapor per hour. It may be from respiration or from perspiration, and it is up to 175 grams during exercise. It is also from expiration and perspiration. So first one is increased temperature, second is increased humidity, third one is decrease in air movement. So in crowded places the natural movement of air is impeded. Fourth one is body odors. Unpleasant odors arise from foul breath, perspiration, bad oral hygiene, dirty clothes, and some other sources. The production of body odors depends upon social status, also by age, and also from personal hygiene of people. So in occupied room there is an increased body odor. So this unpleasant odor, it arises from foul breath, perspiration, bad oral hygiene, dirty clothes, and it depends upon social status of person, age, and by personal hygiene. Fifth one is bacterial pollution. The exhaled air contains microorganisms in suspension. These are principally saprophytic bacteria and may include pathogenic bacteria. These organisms are discharged into the air during conversation, coughing, sneezing, and loud talking. unless the ventilated air, means the air which is present in occupied room, that air unless is replaced by fresh air, it may adversely affect the comfort, health and efficiency of occupants. It is known that a feeling of suffocation or discomfort is experienced by occupants in insufficiently ventilated rooms, and also complaints of headache, drowsiness and inability to concentrate. There is also the risk of droplet infection and lowered resistance to disease on prolonged exposure. So the occupied room can affect the comfort of person, health of person, efficiency of person. There may be feeling of suffocation, discomfort, can be complaints of headache, drowsiness, inability to concentrate. There is also risk of infection, mainly droplet infection. And what is discomfort? As discomfort is a subjective sensation which people experience in ill ventilated and crowded rooms. So what is discomfort? Discomfort is a subjective sensation which people experience in ill ventilated and crowded rooms. For a long time, it was believed due to increased carbon dioxide and decreased oxygen resulting from respiration. But it is now established that the causes of discomfort are not due to chemical changes but due to physical changes. Means the discomfort is not due to increased carbon dioxide, it is due to temperature, humidity, air movement and due to heat radiation. These factors determine the cooling power of the air with respect to human body. So the discomfort depends on physical changes, not on the chemical changes. That is, it depends on temperature, humidity, air movement and heat radiation. These are the main factors which determine the cooling power of the air with respect to human body. Then what are indices of thermal comfort? As we have seen, discomfort is due to physical changes. Then how to measure the thermal comfort? Means the air which is comfortable for humans. How to measure? So there are several indices which have been put forward from time to time which expresses thermal comfort and heat stress. These are following. First is air temperature. For a long time, air temperature was used as an index of thermal comfort, but it was realized that air temperature is not really giving what we want as a thermal comfort. So it is rejected. Second one is air temperature and humidity. So some scientists says that we don't use air temperature as a thermal comfort, but we add as humidity to express the thermal comfort. So they combine air temperature and humidity both together to express thermal comfort. But even this was found to be unsatisfactory. Third one is cooling power. Still later, air temperature, humidity and air movements were considered together and expressed as a cooling power of the air. So they add air movement in the air temperature and humidity, and all three are together expressed as a cooling power of the air. An instrument was devised by Hill, which is called as Carter thermometer, to measure the cooling power of the air. We'll go in detail afterwards about Carter thermometer. So at present, just remember Carter thermometer. It is the instrument devised by Hill, and it is for measuring the cooling power of the air. There are two types of Carter thermometer, dry Carter thermometer and wet Carter thermometer. A dry Carter reading of 6 and above and wet Carter reading of 20 and above were regarded as the indices of thermal comfort. Means cooling power in dry Carter, which is 6 and above, and in wet Carter, which is 20 and above, it is regarded as thermal comfort. Further, researches have shown that Carter cooling powers are also not reliable. So first, only body temperature, only air temperature is considered. It was not reliable. Second, they added humidity into that. It is also not reliable. And in the third, they added air movement and combined it as a cooling power of the air. But researchers shows that it is also not reliable. So further researches has done, and they come to the effective temperature. So effective temperature is an arbitrary index which combines into a single value, which includes effect of temperature, humidity, movement of the internal air on the sensation of warmth and cold felt by human body. So in the cooling power, they have added sensation of human body, and that temperature they have called effective temperature. The numerical value for effective temperature is that of temperature of still saturated air, which would induce the same sensation of warmth or cold as that of experienced in the given condition. For example, if the environment has effective temperature value of 30 degrees Celsius, it implies that subjective sensation of it will be same as in saturated atmosphere of 30 degrees Celsius with no air movements. Means it is the effective temperature. Here we considered the effect of temperature, humidity internal movement of internal air with the sensation of human body. So in example they have said, if environment has the 30 degree Celsius temperature, then effective temperature is also 30 degree Celsius to the human body. So it will be same. But that was also unsatisfactory. So last one, they come to the final corrected effective temperature. So this is the improvement over the effective temperature index. So instead of dry bulb temperature, they have taken the reading of globe thermometer. We'll see in detail about types of thermometer, in which we'll see about Kata thermometer, dry bulb thermometer, globe thermometer. Here in corrected effective temperature, instead of using dry bulb thermometer, we'll use globe thermometer to allow the measuring of radiant heat which is present in the air. That is, the corrected effective temperature scale deal with all four factors: air temperature, velocity of the air means movement of the air, humidity, and mean radiant heat. Here we added the radiant heat. The corrected effective temperature may be readily obtained from prepared nomograms by reference to the globe thermometer temperature, the wet bulb temperature, and air speeds. So there are ready-made charts or momograms in which we have found the standard values of CET, that is corrected effective temperature. The scientist McArdles, he has given McArdles maximum allowable sweat rate, that is P4SR, predicted 4-hour sweat rate. The predicted 4-hour sweat rate can be obtained from any combination of dry and wet bulb temperature of the air, mean radiant air temperature, and air velocity under different work intensity. Means in comfort zone, the P4SR, that is predicted 4-hour sweat rate, it is 1 to 3 liter. In the just tolerable environment, it is 3 to 4.5 liters of sweat rate. In intolerable, it is 4.5 plus liter sweat rate. Still we have seen about discomfort. Then what is comfort zone? So comfort zones may be defined as the range of effective temperatures over which majority of adults feel comfortable. Means it is the zone in which we feel comfortable. So there is no unanimous decision on a single zone of comfort for all people, because comfort is a quite complex subjective experience. which depends not only on physiological factor but also on psychological factor which are difficult to determine. So we cannot define what is comfort zone because it is a subjective experience of a person. It not only depends on physical or physiological factor but it also depends on psychological factor which are very difficult to determine. Considering only environmental factors, comfortable thermal conditions are those under which a person can maintain normal balance between production and loss of heat at a normal body temperature and without sweating. So, what is comfortable thermal conditions? Are those under which a person can maintain normal balance between production of heat and loss of heat at normal body temperature and without sweating. Remember this 2 marks question. What is comfortable thermal conditions? Comfortable thermal conditions are those under which person can maintain normal balance between production of heat and loss of heat at a normal body temperature and without sweating. So there are some values given. The comfort zones evaluated in India. If the corrected effective temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, we can say it is a pleasant and cool air. If it is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, it is comfortable and cool. And when it is 25 to 27 degrees Celsius, it is comfortable. When it goes above 27 to 28, it is hot and uncomfortable air. When it goes 28 above, it is extremely hot. And when the corrected effective temperature goes 30 degrees Celsius and above, it is intolerably hot. So, the corrected effective temperature 20 degrees Celsius, the air is pleasant and cool. It is cool but we can tolerate it. When it is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, it is comfortable and cool. When it is 25 to 27 degrees Celsius, it is comfortable. But when it goes to 27 and 28 degrees Celsius, it is hot and uncomfortable. 28 degrees Celsius, it is extremely hot. And when it goes above 30 degrees Celsius, it is intolerably hot. We have seen this predicted 4-hour sweat rate. In comfort zone, the rate is 1 to 3 liters. In just tolerable room, it is 3 to 4.5 liters. And when it is intolerable, it is 4.5 plus liters. The next part we'll see tomorrow. We'll revise in short what we have seen, as we started with environment and health, in which we have already finished about water. We started with air, which is physical component of environment. So air is very important. Many lives are depends on air. The functions of the air, apart from supplying oxygen, the human body is cooled by air contact. Special senses of hearing and smell function through air transmitted stimuli. Also, disease agents may be conveyed by the air. So these are the functions of the air. The pollution of the air by dust, smoke, toxic gases, chemical vapors has resulted in sickness and death. The human beings needs a continuous supply of air to exist. The requirement for air is relatively constant. It is about 10 to 20 m³ per day. So we have seen functions of the air: life-giving oxygen, body cooling, transmits stimuli of smell and hearing, disease causation due to conveying the agents and pollutants, bacteria, viruses, and will require continuous supply of 10 to 20 m³ air per day. Composition of air: it is the mixture of gases. It contains nitrogen 78.1%, oxygen 20.93%, carbon dioxide 0.03%, and other gases like argon, neon, krypton, xenon, helium. Also it contains water vapor, traces of ammonia, suspended matter such as dust, bacteria, spores, vegetative debris. So it is diagrammatic presentation, composition of air. So air is rendered impaired by respiration of men and animals, combustion of coal, gas, oil, decomposition of organic matter, trade, traffic, and manufacturing processes, which gives off dust, fumes, vapors, and gases. Even if all these things are responsible for air impurity, the nature tries to clean by itself. So there is some self-cleansing mechanism by nature, that are wind. Wind dilutes and sweeps away the impurities by its movement. Due to wind movement, impurities do not accumulate in any one place. Second one is sunlight. It plays important part by oxidizing the impurities and killing the bacteria which are present in the air. Third one is rain. It cleanses the atmosphere by removing suspended and gaseous impurities. And most important, plant life. The green plant utilizes the carbon dioxide and generates oxygen. This process is reversed during night time. When the nature becomes ineffective for cleansing, then it constitutes to a health hazard. The air of occupied room. The human occupancy and activity vitiate the air in occupied room and gives the sense of discomfort to the occupants. The changes that takes place are chemical changes and physical changes. In chemical changes, there is an increased CO2, decreased O2, In physical changes, there is a rise of temperature, increase humidity, decrease in air movements, body odors, and bacterial pollutants, which all leads to decreased comfort, health, and efficiency of person. There is a feeling of suffocation, discomfort, also as the complaints of headache, drowsiness, inability to concentrate, risk of droplet infection, and also decrease resistance to disease. So in chemical changes, there is increased carbon dioxide and decreased oxygen. In physical changes, first is rise in temperature. So temperature rises due to emanation of body heat. A man at rest gives off approximately 400 BTU per hour. British thermal unit, 400 BTU per hour. 1 BTU is the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. So at rest, the human beings gives 400 BTU temperature. And under the physical exertion, the heat output may go up to 4000 BTU. Increase of humidity. There is an increase in the relative humidity due to moisture evaporated from skin and lungs. The expired air contains about 6% of water vapor. An adult person at rest releases average 700 grams of water vapor per 24 hours in the form of perspiration. It has been calculated. Human being releases 18.4 grams of water vapor per hour when sleeping and 175 grams of water vapor when doing vigorous exercise. Then decrease in air movement. In crowded places, the natural movement of air is impeded. Then body odors. Unpleasant odors arises from foul breath, perspiration, bad oral hygiene, dirty clothes, and some other sources. And it depends on social status, age, and personal hygiene of the people. Bacterial pollution. The exhaled air contains microorganisms in suspensions, and it is discharged into the air during conversation, coughing, sneezing, and loud talking. Unless this vitiated air is replaced by fresh air, it may have some adverse effect on comfort, health, and efficiency of occupants. So it can cause feeling of suffocation, discomfort. It can cause complaints like headache, drowsiness, inability to concentrate. There is also risk of increasing droplet infection and lowering the resistance of disease on prolonged exposure. Then what is discomfort? Discomfort is the subjective sensation which people experience in ill-ventilated and crowded rooms. Initially, we believe that due to increased carbon dioxide and decreased oxygen leads to discomfort. But due to researches, it has established that cause of discomfort are not due to chemical changes but due to physical changes. Physical changes like temperature, humidity, and air movement and heat radiation. These factors determine the cooling power of the air with respect to human body. So we have seen indices of thermal comfort, means the index at which human being feels comfortable. So we have seen air temperature and humidity. Then cooling power. For cooling power, the instrument used is Carta thermometer. But all are not satisfactory. So there is a effective temperature, which includes effect of temperature, humidity, movement of the internal air on the sensation of warmth and cold felt by human body. At last, the final indices given is corrected effective temperature. This is most used index for thermal comfort. Here, globe thermometer is used for measuring the effective temperature. So it deals with the 4 factors, mainly air temperature, velocity, humidity and mean radiant heat. There is also concept given by scientist McArdle. It is McArdle's maximum allowable sweat rate, that is P4SR. It is predicted 4-hour sweat rate. It is given in comfort zone, it is 1 to 3 liter. In just tolerable environment, it is 3 to 4.5 liter. And when it is intolerable, it is 4.5 plus liters. Then comfort zone, it is subjective experience of a person. It is the zone in which person feels comfortable. It depends on physical, physiological and mainly on psychological factor of person. So it is very difficult to define. Even the definition is given like comfortable thermal conditions are those under which person can maintain normal balance between production and loss of heat at normal body temperature without sweating. So comfort zone or comfortable thermal conditions are those under which a person can maintain normal balance between production of heat and loss of heat at a normal body temperature and without sweating. So there are some values given about comfort zone. The final index used is corrected effective temperature for measuring the comfort zone. So if corrected effective temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, it is pleasant and cool. If it is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, it is comfortable and cool zone. If it is 25 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature, it is comfortable zone. If it is 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, it is hot and uncomfortable. If it is 28 plus, it is extremely hot temperature or extremely hot zone. If it is 30 degrees Celsius and more, it is intolerably hot. So next part will continue tomorrow. We'll see about air pollution. Till here, if anyone has any doubt, you can ask me personally by call or by message. Thank you.